Welcome to lesson number 9. In this lesson I'm going to cover locations and some of the so-called extras in the software. So these are functions that don't really belong to any of the major modules, but they can be quite useful here as extras. So let's first look at locations. So you can get either from the tools menu by clicking locations, which we're doing here now. So let's do this first. As you can see here, since this is using Google Maps, you see as a firewall warning that the software is going to contact the internet, so we'll allow this here. And so this takes a second. You will see this goes to Google here first. And you see that there's a couple locations are already entered here, and as I click through those, it will take a second and it will pretty much go and display these locations here, right? So let's try to add a new location here. So we click new, and so let's just pick a location here. Let's say we want to put in the Eiffel Tower and do address Eiffel Tower, Paris, France. And if you want to see if this actually is sufficient to find this location on Google Maps, you can just click on map and you see it finds this here. With the slider you can zoom in, zoom out, the same like with Google Maps. And so you see this is the location here. Actually looks like it's taken from the top of the Eiffel Tower here. And what you can do then is you can select one of the categories here. So let's say this is a site, and if we're saving this, you'll see this shows up here in the list. In this box here you can say, okay, I can do a satellite picture, I can get the road map picture, and you see this here as the road map or the hybrid or terrain. So this is pretty much how this works, right? So again, as I click through here, I can see other locations that are stored here. One thing that you can do with this as well, we already covered that briefly in the people module. So if I want to assign a location to a user, so let's click on user Bob here, and you see I had already previously linked this user to the location, the White House, right? So and this is pretty much just if I click this here, it will show this location here. So this is a pretty much an easy way to store people's addresses and link them straight to Google Maps. Let's look at some of the extras. There's a little quotation module or quotes module built in here. So if I click this, you will have a window showing up, and this is a floating window. This will stay open until you close it. So the one thing you can do here, you see there's quotes being displayed here randomly, and I think there's about 1700 motivational quotes in here. If I want to have a new quote show up, let's say every 8 seconds, I can get this down here to 8 seconds, so it gives another couple seconds here, and you will see that every 8 seconds the quotes here will change. And again, you can keep working here on the rest of the software and place this floating window somewhere on your desktop if you wish, and you will pretty much have these quotes being displayed in the interval that you decide here. Next function you have is simple sticky notes, right? So I can put a note on here saying a note, and again this will also stay open on your desktop, and I can have, of course, multiple notes here that I can put somewhere on my desktop, and you can either close this by the closing button or you click the little X here. So it's just a quick way if you want to, instead of writing on a piece of paper, you can just have these sticky notes on your screen. Another thing that is quite useful, if you, let me just go through one thing here first and say, so on the day module you see, today it says here September 1st, and say, you write something in my journal, right? And I save this. Let's go to yesterday, say something here as well, blah blah. So this you would read pretty much by clicking through the days here, right, back and forth. So once you have actually written a bunch of things in your journal, you may just want to read up on what you've written over a time, and rather doing this in this view, which of course is mostly focused on tracking dimensions and things like that, the journal reader is simply kind of a view that's more like a book, right? So you see pages here on this book, and you can scale this as you wish, right? So this gets bigger, and you can just read what you wrote in here, right? And it shows here is pretty much the first entry in the database here is September 1st, right? With this button, you get to the beginning of your entries, which is where we are. If you click on the right side, we go to the last entry, which is September 5th, which we just wrote today here, and you can see the two things we wrote in here just now will show up in this book format. And if you're clicking here at the edge of the pages, you can also go back and forth, right, by one page. So this is just a view that you may want to leverage if you want to not look at the dimensions you tracked, but pretty much look at the thoughts and the freeform journaling you have written over time. Right, so that is the journal. And then the last thing here in the extra section is called dimensions, and we already covered this briefly in a previous category. So this is pretty much a view that just shows you in a one glance view the dimension colors. And we used this before with people. Let's say, see, this window stays open, it's a floating window. If I wanted to show the categories of the people in the database by category color, you see, you show the colors show up here. If I want to see, this orange here says here relationship dentist, what dimension that actually belongs to, I can see here. It is, of course, in physical health, right? So that's just a quick thing here as a reminder. And again, this stays floating as well. That tells you what the category colors are. So this concludes this short module on locations and extras.